Well, hey guys, welcome to Camping with Steve. Sorry it's a few days late. It's not Thursday like usual, but better late than never, eh? I'm feeling a lot better, and today I'm gonna possibly make some steps backwards in the feeling better department by sleeping outside in this rain. So I'm gonna walk into the woods here by my place. I can't leave the property, of course, because I've been a little sick and they're frowning on that. So I'm gonna come in here and see if I can find, there's like tons of firewood, but I want to see if I can find a couple of trees that will set up nicely for the distance of this hammock. And of course, the very first thing is to get a spot that's nice and dry, and I think I see one that's going to work quite nicely right here. Yeah, this should do really good. As soon as I got the tarp up, they were on sale a little while ago, and I picked up another one of these. It's a 13 by 9 foot 10 inch, and they're polyester, or yeah, it's polyester. So it was about $25 when it was on sale. I think the sale might be back on. I don't know, but it folds up a lot better than those stupid blue tarps. The blue tarps are really cheap, but these ones are pretty good. And I've seen some of those camping stores trying to sell backpacking tarps made out of polyester or nylon for over $300. So I was very thrilled to pick this up for a reasonable fee. The hammock I used to have one years ago. I call this the bear burrito, because you look like a burrito that a bear would eat. And this, it doesn't have the integrated mesh screen or the integrated tarp over top like my other hammock. But this one I can use more easily as a chair, and I don't have to crawl in from underneath. But enough of this talking, because I'm getting wetter the longer I stand here explaining this stuff. I'm going to get this tarp fairly high up in the trees, because I want to have a small fire underneath of this to fend off the cold. Well, now that we got this up, that's half the battle. Of course, it seems like the rain has stopped now. But anyhow, this will be a good windbreak, and the rain is supposed to come back. So this will be very, very useful as a kind of shelter. And that was step one. Step two, of course, is to crack a delicious frosty beer. This one's a Stanley Park Brewing Layer Up Winter Wheat Ale. No, I'm not sponsored. It was just a good deal, and I've never had one before. So cheers, guys. And it's okay to drink a beer or two on these trips. Just be smarter than me and don't use your axe after a couple. Get your firewood sorted before you have too many of these. And other than that, yeah, this isn't hardcore camping. You know, we're not scaling Everest here. It's okay to have a few beers, because that's what everybody I know does when they go camping. Yeah, but batten down the hatches a little better. I gotta put up this hammock so I got somewhere to sit and enjoy my step two of the day. And I picked this one up. It was like $30 or something. So, all carabiners and everything. Okay, maybe I won't burn the instructions right away, but I will burn the box when I get a fire started. That's awesome! Carabiners. I've always needed a pair of these for the other hammock. Ah, it's a pretty small little hammock package here. I like. That'll work good. Real good. just pretty aggressive today. I'm gonna add more rope onto every single grommet that I can put rope onto. That'll give the tarp a little more holding power if this wind really whips up. Well, I am going to try and build a small fire pit under here. The ground is nice and wet from all this rain, but you always got to worry about any of this leaves and grass and stuff that could catch on fire. And also everything around me is plastic, including the hammock, the tarp, sleeping pad, sleeping bag, and most of my clothing. So you don't want to cause any grief here. But this looks like pretty good ground. There's no roots or nothing underneath of it. Nothing I found yet. So it should be good if I keep it small. I'm just gonna gather some material to burn. These woods are loaded with some pretty dry wood, so I'm going to start the fire in a bit here, so we don't have to come out looking for more wood later. I don't want it too big, and yeah, it's sure getting blustery, I have to say that. I threw on a bunch of small diameter wood about the size of a cheap hot dog because that should get it big enough that I can have a coal bed to cook on, but also not so big that it starts all this plastic camping equipment on fire, because the plastic would be dripping like hot syrup all over me, and I don't need that. So without any further ado, I'm going to saturate this with barbecue fluid. That should do good. It's better than gasoline because it won't go whoop. And actually got some of the garbage that came with this hammock, and that should do the job. Don't ever look to me for safety advice, and don't do this. Well, you can really smell the kerosene in that stuff. Smells like a Zippo. Perfect. Should get things going. Yeah. I can feel the warmth already. This should be cozy in extreme conditions. I really do like camping in bad weather. Much preferred to good weather. Spring and fall are my favorite seasons to camp in. We don't really get the spring or a fall here. It usually goes right into summer. But I got 2 weeks before we need the air conditioner and all that. So these are the golden days, guys. Well, the rain waxes and wanes, but I'm staying completely dry in here. And there is some wind blowing through for sure, but that's actually keeping the smoke from the fire away from blowing in my face for now. And that wasn't planned, that was just a fluke, a happy coincidence. So I'm gonna get this down to a bed of coals and throw on a long simmering soup because it's soup weather, and I got some good tray buns. So promises to be a real good meal. Hamburger soup. One of my special skills is that when I'm camping, I go to rearrange all the logs on the fire, and then it sometimes ends up putting the fire out because I haven't mastered that art quite yet. But so far so good. Just doesn't get any better than this. Maybe next time I'll use a ridge line at the very top that goes all the way across instead of relying on these grommets on the tarp. But $30 hammock, and I'm sure you can grab them cheaper on Amazon. This is just a regular backyard parachute hammock that is not really meant for camping in any serious way. And the tarp, 20 bucks. There's those cheaper poly ones, but those big blue and green ones, they're loud, so it would be so annoying to be filming with this rustle of a loud tarp. And they don't pack up nicely, so you end up with a huge ball of tarp at the end of the trip that came in a little thing the size of an envelope. And as long as I keep the fire away from that edge where it's where it could singe the tarp, and away from this, it's going to be good. I might make it a little bit longer here and kind of more in the middle. I think I got enough coals to start cooking, so I'm just going to brown up some ground beef with some garlic and onions. You don't need to bring this much garlic with you, but a Dutch oven is great, so I do recommend that. No more worrying about the bottom getting a little sooty. This is what they're designed for. Aha! And this got a perfect hook on it, so I can, grab the lid, move it around. I sterilized this part in the flame so that nothing gross drips into the food. Oh, something did gross drip in there. No food yet, so not even hot yet. We'll just dump that thing out of whatever it is. Okay. All right. So remove the disgusting chunks of bark from your Dutch oven. And I got this recipe actually off of spendwithpennies.com. And they don't sponsor me or nothing. I always just Google a recipe that's going to give me an easy meal in one pot. Get rid of that guy. And I don't like to throw this on the fire, of course, especially if I'm cooking on it. So pack it in, pack it out. One of the downsides with cooking directly on the fire, I've found, is the ability to control the heat. So you want to look at the recipes and make sure it's kind of conducive to a wide range of temperatures. And cast iron helps a lot with that. Yeah, just brown up the ground beef, throw in some onions and garlic. When it calls for garlic, I think it was like 2 cloves. I use this pre-minced stuff because it's real easy. And everything I do when I'm camping is easy. It's in cans, it's mix it all in and eat. There's more to do. You got to enjoy the scenery, the nature. You don't want to be cutting onions, sitting there crying in the middle of nature. It's certainly better things to be doing than food prep, but It smells good for just ground beef on a fire in a Dutch oven. Oh, I pre-chopped the onion at home, so there's no need to do that out here. Put this in, brown it up with the beef, dump in a generous glug of garlic. And yeah, the recipe is just called Hamburger Soup on Spend with Pennies. If you Google that, I think it was the first recipe that came up for hamburger soup when I did my Googling. Handy dandy garbage bag for other items. Yeah. Just kind of doing this a little quicker than normal because I got some daylight fading here and I want to get the soup started before I'm doing it with a flashlight in the middle of the night. And garlic. So 2 cloves. About 2 cloves. Okay, I'm gonna fry that up. That's the actual only cooking part of this recipe. The rest of it is just dumping in cans of stuff. So, and some spices and salt and pepper. And that's the type of recipe I like when I'm camping. None of this, you know, trying to make beef Wellington or something. Unless you can find a really bastardized version. No sense to make anything overboard. Oh yeah. This is gonna work just great. Perfect. Just the type of meal I like to cook. Throw in a bunch of stuff. Beef broth, 4 cups or 1 liter. In you go. Save this guy for the carryout. And 4 cans of good stuff. Oh, why didn't I bring a can opener? I'm sure I did. Ah, can opener. This calls for I'm not sure, some Italian style seasoning. Looks like enough. It calls for bay leaves, but I didn't have any, and I'm sure there's bay leaves in this. No, there isn't. If you want to do it to the recipe, use bay leaves, I guess. Yeah, doesn't matter, I guess, what order you throw them in. Can of mixed vegetables. You could use frozen or fresh for that matter. Doesn't really matter. Now I'm just throwing all this brine that comes in with this stuff in there so that I don't have to put in so many scoops of sugar at the end of it all. Or salt, not sugar. Diced potatoes. Come in a can. Great thing to bring camping. I'm a big fan of things that if you don't use, you won't find them all rotten in the back of your trunk when you're done with camping. So 1 can, 2 cans calls for a can of diced tomatoes. You wipe the junk off the lid, but that's the way it goes. Yeah. Nice tomatoes. Oh, this pot's getting dangerously full. That's okay. I'd use these to build a little rocket stove. I just might. Now, stir all that in. The actual recipe wants a can of normal tomato soup. Now, the problem with that is I don't like normal tomato soup. It tastes like ketchup and milk mixed together. So, when it boils down, because that's getting to the brim, I'm just going to add some normal tomato sauce, or that type of thing. And I'm not going to try to pronounce this because I get enough flack over my pronunciation of pasta or pasta or however you say it. But this steak sauce, it wants like 2 tablespoons for that instant richness. Yum. Little step 2 for good luck in there. There. That should do the job quite nicely. Oh, that's a good soup. Once it's all nice and cooked, I just heat the side of it by the fire. That keeps the whole thing warm. But as you can hear, that's not just rain anymore. That's sleet. So we know it's below 0 Celsius and we know it's below 32 Fahrenheit. So that'll make things a little interesting. But yeah, this soup I'm going to enjoy with a nice fresh butter tray bun. Oh yeah, love these buns. They're just great. They're one of the few things you get from a bakery that actually tastes homemade. Absolutely. I'll try and show you my huge cauldron of soup here. I think that is a very good hearty meal. Oh yeah, almost a stew. Still nice and dry down here. I'm knocking snow off the sides because there are full-blown snowflakes coming down as we speak. So, throw a few more pieces of wood on the fire, and I've had a heaping helping of delicious hamburger soup here. But I'm gonna put in the sleeping pad. Because I'm gonna need all the insulation I can get on the bottom of this thing for the night. And this is another one of those real cheap guys I picked up versus, you know, the cost of a real one. It's got this blowing it up contraption. Yikes. I guess you get the air into it, and then hook her together. You find the nozzle on here without burning it on the campfire. Probably a thing to do in the daylight, to be honest, but you don't want to get your breath in there because it's moist. But the moisture will add up in there. And create a little bit less insulation for you. So that is definitely. Oh, this isn't taking too long. This is inflating pretty good. So yeah, keep it away from the campfire. Oh yeah. Doesn't take too long at all to inflate this guy. Yeah. This is great. Well, that worked out pretty good. Oh, yeah. It's like a waterbed. Unbelievable. Super comfortable. And, yeah, I think it's probably time to turn in for the night. So, I have to give a huge shout out to all of the people who have sent beer donations and all of the people who have picked up Hunker Down merch. There's the old design, which I'm sporting right now because it was the only clean thing in the house, but there's also a new design out there made by Max Norman. He's just a really good guy that came up with the design for the new one, so that's awesome. I'm gonna chow down a little bit more and hunker down. And this, it should be pretty toasty, I think, but we'll see what happens. Oh my, what have I gotten myself into? Well, woke up not a moment too soon to use the washroom. Oh, the snow is going up pretty severely on the tarp, and I've stopped my time-lapse video from filming and broke my tripod. So I gotta crawl back in there quick. It is getting pretty chilly, sad to say. There's a frosty devil tonight, oh boy. Good morning, and this is what I wake up to
lot of snow, but the tarp really held up nicely, so that's awesome. Oh, I don't know how much more I can film. I'm using this broken stump of a tripod here, so I'll probably head into town and get another tripod. And I got another more stealthy video coming up, which should be happening for Thursday, because I know the stealth is really popular and it's fun. It gives me a little bit of a thrill, a little excitement about getting possibility of getting busted. So thanks for watching, guys. I know it's probably a short one by the time it's all edited down, but you know, we're getting back in the swing of things here. Feeling much better than I was over the last couple of weeks. Actually, I had a awful it was like cold or allergy symptoms or something, and a headache for a little while, and pretty exhausted, but no, I'm feeling really good. Eating a lot more healthy and being more active, and you know, resting when I need it, so that makes all the difference in the world. So thanks for watching, guys, and if this is your first time around watching one of these, subscribe if you like this sort of thing, and if not, please don't be too mean in the comments. So we'll see you guys come Thursday. Thanks a lot.